So it turns out that the descendants of the Tiyin Star Lord, the Henge fairy, poured the colorful clouds in front and behind. Wukong was introducing the various immortals of the Moon Palace to the king of Tianzhu, saying that under this treasure cave were the fairy sisters of the Tiyin Star, Lord of the Moon Palace, namely Chang'e of the Moon. The original text states that the master of the Moon Palace is the Tiyin Star Lord, the essence of the Yellow Hua Suyao of the Moon Palace of the 9 luminaries of Taoism, known as the Tiyin Star Lord. At the same time, Chang'e is not a single person. In Journey to the West, it generally refers to the many fairy maidens in the Moon Palace. This is similar to the 7 fairies in the Heavenly Palace. Back in those days, Baji only flirted with one of the Chang'e fairies. If someone now claims that this old spider spirit is actually Chang'e who was demoted, then why is it that in the original text, after chapter 95, Baji is able to rekindle his old feelings and see the Chang'e fairy he once flirted with? This raises questions about the continuity and consistency of the characters and their interactions. Clearly, in chapter 73, the spider spirit was already killed, not taken back. Isn't the Chang'e fairy that Baji flirted with still well and good in the Moon Palace as an immortal? So could this old spider be referencing the old lady from the later Journey to the West? No, the old lady actually appears in chapters 32 to 34 of the later Journey to the West. Some believe there are 2 reasons why the old lady admiring the protagonist is significant. First and foremost, the old lady is one of the few demons who doesn't have a love for monks, but instead has a fondness for monkeys. The text uses emotional threads to correspond to spider threads, and she has a magical treasure called the Fire Bath Pliers. Finally, the old lady, unable to attain her love, crashes into a cliff and commits suicide. The ending is described as thousands of ice shards flying like white snow, a head of hot blood seeing peach blossoms, corresponding to the full garden of peach blossoms in PV3. Secondly, in the original text, the 7 spider spirits were killed with no further mention, making it impossible for them to reappear in black myth Wukong. So is this really a nailed-down fact? Let's first explain reason 1. The old lady's possibility is not high. Some might compare the appearance of the old lady to the old spider in PV3. We see the old spider indeed has the image of an old person with elderly mannerisms. However, the old lady is described as having white hair, yet she possesses a youthful face and a young heart. Although she has white hair, her skin is as smooth as white jade, and her complexion is as rosy as peach blossoms. Moreover, she has a youthful heart, indicating her character doesn't match the old spider's appearance and persona. Not only that, but the later Journey to the West, as mentioned before, has many clever plots and demons. However, the chapter about the old lady has always been interpreted by later generations as vulgar and obscene. The whole process is really filthy and erotic. First of all, in the later Journey to the West, the old lady does not harm living beings. She possesses a specialized tool known as the Fire Bath Pliers, which is specifically designed and used to clamp and secure the weapons of heroes. After the battle had concluded, the old lady would feel remarkably refreshed and full of fragrant sweat. Moreover, the original text says that as long as the Fire Bath Pliers clamp onto a weapon, the weapon would become soft and could even produce water. This is not something I'm making up, it's in the original text. When the old lady fought against Sun Lufshen, it was specifically mentioned that the old lady was made dizzy and disoriented by Sun Lufshen's iron rod. She said that her Fire Bath Pliers and Sun Lufshen's golden hoop iron rod were a natural pair and should stay together for mutual enjoyment. So from this passage, you can see the difference in plot and literary quality between the later Journey to the West and the original Journey to the West, one of the 4 great classical novels. Therefore, I want to say that forcing the setting to make the old lady correspond to the old spider spirit might indeed be explainable in some way. But if you really want to force it, then the plot of Black Myth, Wukong, would be too degraded. And if that's the case, I think there's no need for me to dig into the plot anymore. Any future videos, including this one, would lose their intended meaning, so I won't go into further detail here. Next, let me continue to explain the reason. In the original text of chapter 73 of Journey to the West, it says that the great sage shook his trident, wielded an iron rod, and smashed the 7 spider spirits to pieces. This clearly tells the readers that the 7 spider spirits were killed. If we stick to the premise of adhering to the original text as much as possible, then the old spider in Black Myth, Wukong cannot possibly be one of the 7 spider spirits from the original text. We can discuss different scenarios. If the spider spirit wasn't completely dead but was severely injured, is it possible? In PV3, the second sister says that her decades-old illness has never healed, thanks to Chunwu. Not only does she not hate him, but she also degrades herself like this. I can't keep acting. Does this imply that one of the spider spirits was severely injured but managed to survive, ultimately leaving her with a chronic illness? But this explanation is far-fetched. It's actually about forcibly changing the original work and adding new settings. I don't quite agree with this severe injury theory. So, is there another explanation? In other words, if the spider spirit truly died, but for some reason found a way to return to the human world. To explain this issue, we need to go back to Journey to the West. In Journey to the West, immortality and the cycle of life and death are a hidden contradiction in the original work. Soon Wukong sought immortality by apprenticing under Bodhi. After that, he caused havoc in the Dragon Palace and Underworld. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva had King Qinguang submit a memorial to the Jade Emperor, leading to havoc in heaven and the start of the journey to the west for scriptures. Along the way, groups of demons tried various ways to eat Tang Sanzang's flesh, all for the sake of immortality. So, what ultimately determines life and death in Journey to the West? In Journey to the West, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva governs the underworld and resides in Biyun Palace. Under Ksitigarbha are 10 generations of underworld kings, each with different functions. Together, they control the cycle of life and death. I probably don't need to introduce Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva too much. The saying goes, only when all beings are saved will I attain Bodhi. If hell is not empty, I vow not to become a Buddha. In the Ksitigarbha Sutra, Shakyamuni tells all Buddhas that everything in this world, including Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heavenly dragons, and ghosts, is transformed by Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. However, in the PVs of Black Myth, Wukong, we see changes in the Buddhist realm. Bodhisattvas closing their eyes and headless Buddha statues. Even after defeating the man-eating treasure chest, the prototype is an 8-layered box enshrining Shakyamuni's relics, scattering countless fragments. One thing is certain in Black Myth, Wukong, all Buddhist-related characters might have suffered calamities. So if Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva suffered calamities and disappeared, the underworld would be unmanaged. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is the one who governs the 6 paths. In Journey to the West, Chapter 11, the concept of the 6 paths of reincarnation is introduced. The demons killed in the original work, according to their sins, should fall into the track and suffer in hell, losing discipline. Driven by karma, which is the force behind reincarnation, karma is the greatest force in the world. Naturally, the demons in the original work could return to the human world. If their bodies still exist in the human world, they can return to their original bodies. If their bodies were buried or destroyed, they could be reborn by borrowing another body. In Chapter 11 of Journey to the West, Liu Quan's wife, Li Qilian, was reborn by borrowing the body of Yu Mei. This is a clearly written plot in the original work. So, the disorder in the underworld and Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's calamity also led to another terrifying issue, the disorder of memories and the return of past life memories. In Journey to the West, there is no mention of Meng Po and Meng Po soup on the Naihei Bridge. Using the Buddhist system where Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva resides to explain past life memories, the cycle of 60 would disappear after death in this life. That is to say, the next life does not retain any of the memories from the previous life. However, these lost memories do not simply disappear into thin air. Instead, they are stored like seeds in the 8th consciousness, known as alaya vijnana, through the workings of the 7th consciousness, referred to as manas. This can be seen in the Mahayana Buddhism's Mahayana Samgraha and the Surangama Sutra. Driven by karma, alaya vijnana stores past life memories, determines the causes and conditions and fate of the next life, and carries life into the next cycle of reincarnation. Only alaya vijnana can remain in the cycle of reincarnation. It is because of the existence of alaya vijnana that there is the saying of 500 glances in the past life for a meeting in this life. The disorder in the underworld and the incorrect transfer of alaya vijnana to the next life cause the disorder of memories and the passive awakening of past life memories when life returns to the human world without the extinction of the 6 paths. This is also the reason for the protagonist's journey to the West once again, and the foreshadowing of the yellow eyebrow monster saying in PV2, "I have seen you in some strange dreams." Therefore, in my opinion, the old spider in Black Myth, Wukong is indeed the spider spirit from the original Journey to the West. This is not a difficult question to explain or answer. It actually has very little to do with Chang'e or the old woman. At the same time, whether the original work mentions death or not, I combine the disorder in the underworld theory without denying the original content to provide an answer. After answering whether the old spider is Chang'e, the old spider is not the old woman, and the old spider can still be the spider spirit from the original work. Some might ask, after saying so much, what do you personally think about it? Well, let me explain. In chapters 72 and 73 of the original Journey to the West, involving the spider spirit, there is a hidden, terrifying plot. When Wukong asked the Earth God about the origins of the 7 spider spirits, the Earth God told us that the filthy dog is the upper 7.